Dr. Saira Madad, who has worked on these issues for a long time. Thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me, Chris.
Next, the latest on the Justice Department's sloppy attempt to install a Trumper at SDNY while no one was looking, how Bill Barr's very public debacle all went down, and what they're up to after this.
America is coming back stronger than ever, but it's recommended to wear face protection to help keep you and the people around you safer. But in times of need, they can be hard to get. Introducing Air Police 4, the non-medical face mask with 4 layers of protection. Ships directly to you from our USA warehouse. Air Police uses 4 layers of high-performance fabric with a cutting-edge, melt-blown, electrostatic inner core. Air Police is soft on the skin, covering your entire nose and chin with a customizable nose piece to fit your face and the breathability to wear your glasses without fogging up. Its high-grade 4-layer design provides an extra layer of protection to help you and your family cope with the demands of our hazardous new world. And our one-size-fits-all flexible ear straps are incredibly comfortable for all-day wear.
Right now, being on the front line every day, having 4 layers of protection is a must.
Remember, a human sneeze or cough can fly over 20 feet away. Other masks have only 3 layers. Air Police 4 has 4 layers and ships directly to your door from our USA-based company for the incredible price of just $1.99 each. But order right now and receive special pricing for as low as 99 cents and get free shipping. Plus, you can get an extra-large bottle of our best-selling Hanvana Hydra Clean hand sanitizer that kills 99.9% of germs and softens your hands at the same time. Just pay a separate fee. This offer is not available on Amazon and supplies are limited. We urge you to call or go online now for guaranteed delivery. Remember, this offer is not available on Amazon. Order now.
Call 1-800-903-6042. That's 1-800-903-6042. Call or visit airpolice4.com. So call 1-800-903-6042 or visit airpolice4.com. Order now.
I was mandated to close March 24th. Everything had just completely canceled.
To do what I do best, build.
Dance.
I'm going to do a mural. I'm going to go dig. We're going to be printing this on color shirts.
Hurt, you can't function. Until now, introducing the new Copperfit compression gloves with sure grip technology to give you more power, more control, and more agility than ever. Copper-infused compression fabric woven into an ultra-lightweight performance glove that supports relief and recovery of sore muscles and painful joint stiffness. And new sure grip bands built in provide a strong, non-slip grip.
They relieve my pain. The support or whatever magic these things do, I don't know what it is. It doesn't matter to me what it is.
34050 or on the web at getcopperfitgloves.com for only $19.99. Order right now and your shipping is free.
While I'm wearing this, I do not have any pain. I can use it on the keyboard. I can use my phone. I love this glove.
Ask for it by name. Copperfit compression gloves.
Quite late on Friday night, when the show was over and people were sliding into the weekend, no one was really paying attention to the news, Attorney General William Barr just issued a surprising statement out of nowhere, seemingly, announcing that the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, a guy named Jeffrey Berman, was resigning. That's a weird thing to announce Friday at like 10 o'clock. The Southern District of New York is arguably one of the most powerful and active districts in the country, probably the most powerful. And as you might remember, it's that district that put the president's former lawyer, Michael Cohen, in prison. It is also that district that is reportedly currently investigating the president's personal lawyer and bagman, Rudy Giuliani. It's already indicted 2 of his associates. It's also investigating the president's inaugural committee, the president's personal bank, Deutsche Bank. One of the most surprising things about the Attorney General's sudden Friday night summer announcement is that it was also apparently a surprise to the man at issue, the top prosecutor that William Barr claimed had resigned. Because that guy, Jeffrey Berman, quickly issued a statement saying, in effect, hell no. Quote, I learned in a press release from the Attorney General tonight that I was stepping down as United States Attorney. I have not resigned. have no intention of resigning my position. Our investigations will move forward without delay or interruption. Boy, that last part certainly seemed like a shot across the bow, and to at the very least imply that his removal, or attempted removal, was due to William Barr wanting him to stop doing some of those investigations. Then on Saturday afternoon, Barr then upped the ante, releasing a public letter to Berman saying, quote, "Because you have declared you have no intention of resigning, I have asked the president to remove you as of today, and he has done so." The top prosecutor for the Southern District agreed to step down shortly after that. So Jeffrey Berman says, okay, uncle, but only after Barr agreed to let his deputy, right, his number two, a respected career prosecutor, take over that office, as opposed to having it taken over by the New Jersey U.S. attorney, which was weird, or the person they'd nominated. But in all the back and forth, it's important not to lose sight of the fact the Attorney General of the United States just flat out lied to the American people on Friday. That's what happened. He lied when he said that federal prosecutor agreed to resign. That was a lie. He lied to all of us with a black and white lie, something easily provable, and he has lied before. And now that U.S. attorney, who has that that Attorney General who has fired Jeffrey Berman is now available to testify before Congress if anyone wants to hear from him, because we still do not really know what the heck happened here. Joining me now for more on the removal of U.S. Attorney Jeffrey Berman is Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, Democrat of Rhode Island. He's a member of the Senate Judiciary Committee, the committee that confirmed Attorney General Barr. He previously served as a U.S. Attorney himself, the U.S. Attorney for Rhode Island, and in that capacity, as a senator on the Judiciary Committee, as a man who held a job similar to Jeffrey Berman's. What did you make of this when you heard this Friday night? What is this?
I don't know. It's somewhere between the Gong Show and that black comedy, The Death of Stalin. It's just such an array of misfires. First of all, there's the lie about the U.S. attorney resigning. Then it turns out that nobody bothered to tell Barr, or they'd forgotten, that this was a judicially appointed U.S. attorney, a rare thing. So it's actually not clear that Barr can fire him, which gave him the leverage to hold out and demand that instead of the New Jersey U.S. attorney coming in, that his own Southern District of New York deputy would take over again in the ordinary course. And then they also forgot that there's a blue slip in the Senate Judiciary Committee. So actually, the new appointee, who they supposedly wanted to be Jay Clayton, would have to go through Chuck Schumer and Kirsten Gillibrand before they could get there. So the amateurishness and the obvious oversights, I mean, it's kind of fire the associate quality work here. So all of that suggests, because Barr is not an idiot, that there are some very powerful forces working just beneath the surface to explain all this peculiarity.
Well, I mean, there's a mystery here that to me is unsolved, right? I mean, clearly something happened. There was some predicate for this. There was some precipitating incident. There's some reporting today about it being an open letter about, a statement of interest in the Department of Justice on Bill de Blasio's opening. I don't quite buy that. But it just seems to me that it's someone's job, I don't know, the Senate Judiciary Committee, the House Judiciary Committee, to actually get to the bottom. Like, we should know what happened here, right?
Yes, we should know what happened here, and if we had gavels in the Senate, we would find out. Chairman Nadler does have a gavel in the House, and I hope and expect he will continue to look into this, because it all just smells really rancid. I think part of it might be that they want to humble the famous sovereign district of New York, which is why you bring a New Jersey U.S. attorney to oversee it as a part-time job. There's always been a rivalry between Main Justice and the so-called sovereign district. But just the bad lawyering here and the slipshod facts and being caught lying twice, first by Berman and second by the president saying, hey, I had nothing to do with this, when Barr said this was the president's call. It all just smacks of amateurism and bizarre motivations.
Yeah, we had the president. In the D.C. district, right, you've got a situation where they did move out the U.S. attorney. They sort of fake promoted her, then they rescinded the nomination, then they have loyalists there, and they've kind of gone to town with that. I mean, that is where they have undermined career prosecutors to suggest a lighter sentence for Roger Stone, leading to resignations. That's where they have attempted to drop charges against Michael Flynn that was so irregular and bizarre that a federal district judge has basically said, like, hold up, and appointed a retired judge to take the other side of the case. So they have run this play in D.C. before. There is some precedent for what it looks like they're trying to do.
Not only have they run this play, but they really got their fingers burned trying to run it as the professional prosecutors left the case. And when Judge Gleason, the specially appointed retired judge, came in, he wrote a blistering condemnation of what was going on. I mean, stunning by a former judge. So all of that really looked horrible for the Department of Justice. And the fact that they would try to replay it while their fingers are still scorched from the last maneuver is, again, it's just really, really peculiar.
Well, I hope that we get some clarity from Mr. Berman himself in the near future on what exactly went down there. I know the people in that who work in that office are pretty flummoxed and unnerved by the sequence of events. Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
My pleasure.
Still to come as the president continues his fear-mongering against vote-by-mail. Kentucky braces for primary day after polling places were cut by nearly 95%. Why there's just one polling place to serve over 600,000 registered voters in one county after this.
Disposable masks are now a limited commodity. That's because you usually need a new one every day, which can make them scarce and hard to get. Introducing Copperware Reusable Mask. It's a reusable, machine-washable mask with the properties of copper. Real copper threads are woven in distancing. These are reusable copper-infused protective masks using breakthrough fiber matrix copper technology. The secret is that copper threads are woven right into the fabric to create a washable mask with the properties of copper. It can help reduce facial touching and covers your nose, mouth, and face. Sometimes we have to go out in public to get essentials. The copper-infused mask can create separation between your face, mouth, and nose and the world outside. And it's all woven into a comfortable, breathable mask with the properties of copper. They're comfortable to wear all day long, cool and easy to breathe, and designed to fit anyone. Great for around the house, working outside, or anytime you want to cover up your nose and mouth. Disposable masks usually need to be replaced daily. That can add up, and they can get scarce. Copperware reusable masks are machine washable, so you can use them day after day. Call or go online now and order your Copperware reusable mask now for only $29.99. But wait, order now and you can double your offer and get a second mask free. Just pay separate processing and handling. That's 2 Copperware reusable masks for only $29.99. Get a comfortable mask with the properties of copper. Order your Copperware reusable masks now.
To order, call 1-800-706-117. That's 1-800-706-6117 or go to copperwaremask.com. This offer is not available in any store, so call today.
More than 20,000 women receive a new diagnosis of ovarian cancer every year. Talcum powder has been linked to ovarian cancer.
The manufacturer has been aware of these risks for decades, but failed to warn women and the public.
In July, $4.69 billion was awarded to 22 women after they developed ovarian cancer after the use of talcum powder. Other victims have been awarded substantial compensation in previous verdicts.
If you or a loved one has been diagnosed with ovarian cancer and use talcum powder regularly, call Morelli Law Firm for a free consultation.
Morelli Law Firm has given a voice to people seriously injured for decades and has successfully litigated thousands of cases for its clients.
All talc cases are handled in-house by an experienced legal team that has the resources and resolve in drug and pharmaceutical litigation to ensure that you receive maximum compensation for your injuries. Call Morelli Law Firm for a free consultation.
At touchofmodern.com, we
Make it that the things you surround yourself with reflect who you are. Your style, your drive, your passions. Venture through a curated collection of astonishing items at touchofmodern.com, because sometimes things aren't just things, they're you. Go to touchofmodern.com and discover the world's most unexpected items.
Searching for a bumper cover replacement after yours disappeared on the freeway? Got it. What about that driver's side mirror that just fell off when you backed out of the garage? Got it. Or a taillight your brother-in-law broke with his bad golf swing? Got it. At carparts.com, we know the most important part of all is the one you need to get your car back on the road. We carry a huge inventory of parts, even collision parts, with savings of up to 50% off. We'll deliver to your door and covered by our 90-day satisfaction guarantee. Get the right part for the right price right now at carparts.com.
Tomorrow's another election day, and that gives us another chance to conduct our ongoing real-time experiment of what voting looks like in a pandemic. 6 states are holding primaries or runoffs, and a lot of eyes are on Kentucky, where earlier this year lawmakers worked out a bipartisan deal to push back the primary until tomorrow and allow mail-in ballots for every registered voter if they so choose. That deal also allowed counties to reduce in-person polling on election day to just one site, and the top election official in highly populated Jefferson County, a Republican, decided to do just that. As voting rights expert and journalist Ari Berman noted, there will be one polling place for 616,000 registered voters in Louisville's Jefferson County, where half the state's black voters live, adding, "This is going to be a disaster." As we've covered extensively on the show, Republicans have used various strategies to suppress the vote, and one of those strategies has been to limit polling locations in African-American areas that are more likely to vote for Democrats. It is also the case that state and county boards of elections are not equipped to run the elections they want to run in these circumstances. I mean, here in New York, right, which is run Democrats, there's also a primary tomorrow. Elections in this state are not run particularly well, I have to say. I mean, anecdotally, I know numerous people who did not get the absentee ballots they requested for tomorrow's primary. And I mention this because sometimes the failures that we see in elections are not the result of partisanship or racial prejudice, but simply because the people in charge are overwhelmed or incompetent or in uncertain circumstances or some combination of all three. And so the best chance that we have to mitigate these failures is through a comprehensive, well-run vote-by-mail program, something that's particularly important during the pandemic. But then we have an impeached president of the United States attempting outright to subvert and sabotage the franchise, tweeting, "Because of mail-in ballots, 2020 will be the most rigged election in our nation's history." In fact, of course, both Donald Trump and Mike Pence themselves recently voted by mail. But that has not stopped Attorney General William Barr from making claims like this.
Right now, a foreign country could print up tens of thousands of counterfeit ballots and be very hard for us to detect which was the right and which was the wrong ballot.
That's not true. We would be able to detect them. In fact, election experts deem that claim, which was also pushed by the president on Twitter, to be ridiculous. And I cannot stress enough how much we need mail-in ballots, because right now, it may be the best things are going to be for the rest of the year in terms of this pandemic. And think of that. Things might be much worse in November. We might be all sheltering in place again, or cold and flu season and the coronavirus. And having the president and the attorney general now attacking the legitimacy of mail-in voting, which could well save lives, is just so bad and so dangerous. Why is Trump doing it? Well, right now the polls suggest he's going to lose badly, so he may want to undermine the results. Failing that, it seems like maybe he just thinks that chaos is his friend. Joining me now is Democratic election lawyer Mark Elias, who's currently involved in over 30 lawsuits to protect voting rights around the country. Mark, as we come up on this election day tomorrow, are there areas of particular concern for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've had this conversation before, and I have a feeling we're going to have it again. We continue to see debilitating long lines in primary after primary after primary, whether it was Texas before COVID, where voters waited 7.5-hour long lines, whether it was in Milwaukee, where there are only polling places open in a city that usually has 180, whether it was in Georgia, or whether it was in Nevada, where the Republican Secretary of State also closed all the in-person polling locations except for one per county.
The argument that I've heard from folks defending the situation in Kentucky and other places is that this is look, we're trying to sort of, we're operating under difficult conditions, and we're trying to offer a choice, and we can't basically run both at full tilt, right? We don't have the capacity to run essentially a huge mail-in ballot program in a state that's not used to it, and also a huge election day program. We don't have the funding, we don't have the training, we don't have the capacity, so we're kind of trying to mix and match the two. What's your response to that this is essentially a good faith effort that's just a tough thing to pull off?
So good faith effort doesn't work when it comes to the fundamental right of voting. I'm sorry, we don't give you a trophy for trying when it comes to protecting people's constitutional right to vote. And that's what a lot of the rhetoric I hear is, well, we're doing the best we can. We'll do better. You know, somehow we manage to do better when we're talking about largely white affluent areas. We don't see long lines there. But when it comes to places where African Americans vote or young people vote, we see long lines. We saw them in 2004. We saw them in 2008. We saw them in 2012. President Obama spoke about it in the State of the Union in January of 2013, saying this was a crisis that we needed to solve. He appointed a bipartisan commission. Guess what happened in 2016? Long lines again. And here again, we see them in 2020. So I think it's about time that we stop making excuses and saying we tried and start coming to solutions.
The president, the president says a lot of things, and sometimes I think it's probably useful not to, take too seriously a lot of the things he says, because he just spouts a lot of nonsense. We all know that. This stuff, the nonsense that he's spouting about absentee ballots and now being aped by the Attorney General, I have to say I found that interview somewhat shocking, does strike me as on a different plane of dangerousness, just in terms of the collective legitimacy of our free and fair elections.
Yeah, Chris, I think you're right to point out the addition of the Attorney General, because that is really troubling. We are all used to Donald Trump saying preposterous things that are not true. It's kind of become sport to see him say ridiculous lies. But it's another thing for the Attorney General of the United States to sit down in an interview setting and tell not one, not two, but several lies about the safety of vote by mail. And that is a escalation of the propaganda and voter suppression that we're seeing out of the administration.
Well, particularly because in any situation in which we may have any sort of litigation, the idea of the Department of Justice putting its finger on the thumb on the scale, even in this, that is really terrifying. I mean, shocking and terrifying to consider.
And it's inconceivable to have imagined even, a few years ago. I mean, whatever you might have thought about the Bush Department of Justice in the 2008 election or 2004 election, whatever Republicans may have harbored about their concerns about Attorney General Holder and the Obama administration, the notion that the Attorney General of the United States went on TV and said that foreign governments can print ballots and states can't figure it out, that people sign the outside of ballot envelopes as part of some effort to deny the secrecy of the ballot, when in fact they signed those on the outer envelope precisely to meet the Republicans' concern about fraud. That's why they signed the outer envelope.
Right.
It's unbelievable. Even for this administration, it's unbelievable.
Mark Elias, who is one of the sort of top election lawyers in the country, who thinks about this, works on it full time, and will have more than enough work, unfortunately, in the months to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Still to come, why Donald Trump's Tulsa disaster is a really bad sign for his campaign, what we know about the fallout behind closed doors, and why voters just are not sold on his COVID response just ahead.
Stay tuned to get this luxurious designer pan free from Gotham Steel. That's right, free. Tired of your pan that scratches and sticks? It's so old and worn, you're afraid to cook in it. Well, it's time to upgrade.
Introducing the Hammered Collection from Gotham Steel, one of America's best-selling cookware brands. Hi, Chef Daniel Green here with my new copper-style designer pan. That's guaranteed to beautify your kitchen like never before.
Gosh, what I love most about this design is this hammered copper look. It would just look so fantastic hanging in my kitchen.
Wow, this is a beautiful pan. It looks
great? Look at those eggs dancing around in there. I tell you, I'm sold. Where do I get these? I love them.
I don't want just the frying pan. I want the whole set.
Eggs stick to other pans, but with mine they slide right out. And look, it still has the super durable ultra non-stick surface. Plus the new Cool Touch solid cast handle makes it safe and easy to cook even the hottest dishes. It's oven safe up to 500 degrees, so bake this beautiful chicken pot pie and serve it straight from the pan. Or warm apple pie, just like Grandma used to make. Any recipe looks great in this pan, and then it wipes clean with ease. Plus metal won't scratch it, so beat fluffy egg whites right in the pan. For a gourmet souffle that slips right out, and a pan that looks just like you. My wife will go crazy for this pan.
I can't believe how beautiful this pan is.
Similar hammered pans sell for almost $100, but today it's an incredibly low $29.99, and we'll even ship it to you free. It's dishwasher safe and PFOA free. But wait, go right now and you can get a matching single-serve egg pan absolutely free. It's perfect for making personalized eggs and delicious breakfast sandwiches in a flash. So upgrade your cookware today and get it all with free shipping. Call now.
To order, call 1-800-916-4883. That's 1-800-916-4883, or order online at GothamHammer.com. That's 1-800-916-4883. Call now.
There's never enough light in your garage, which makes everything hard to see. And in dark basements and attics, those lights are as dim as can be. And since you can't see it all, you stumble and fall. But now there's Beyond Bright, the ultra-bright LED light that gives you 4 times the light to make your entire garage nice and bright. Just remove your old bulb and replace it with Beyond Bright. No tools, no wiring, it's that easy. And the panels are adjustable, so you can aim the light right where you need it. Perfect for the garage. Brighten up your basement and give laundry areas and utility rooms plenty of light. Look, this garage has regular light bulbs and it's way too dark, but Beyond Bright is 4 times brighter. You can clearly see the difference. The secret is new advanced LED technology. The adjustable panels contain 96 ultra bright LEDs that shine with 3,500 lumens of pure white light. So whether you want to turn a dark closet into a bright closet or illuminate an entire garage, Beyond Bright gives you all the light you need. And if you're tired of climbing up into your dark attic and not being able to see, with Beyond Bright, you'll see everything clearly. Watch, we tested this regular bulb and it only reads at 800 lumens. But with the awesome power of Beyond Bright, it registers an incredible 3,500 lumens. That's 4 times the light. Plus, the energy-efficient LED bulbs last a lifetime. Similar products can cost up to $130. But act now and get Beyond Bright for just $29.99. Plus, you can double your offer. Just pay a separate fee. And every order today gets free shipping. Now you can have all the lights you need, wherever you need it, with Beyond Bright. Yes, you get 2 Beyond Bright lights, plus free shipping for only $29.99.
To order, call 1-800-713-7279 or go online at beyondbright.com. Call 1-800-713-7279 or go online at beyondbright.com. Order now.
It is Tuesday, June 16th, and this is a Fox News alert. 3 NYPD officers poisoned at a Manhattan Shake Shack. That's according to law enforcement officials. Bleach reportedly dumped in their drinks as anti-police sentiment hits a boiling point. The restaurant's response to the horrendous attack.
We now know that not only did the Great Shake Shack poisoning incident not happen, which became clear hours later, but the entire thing was an elaborate and preposterous fraud. Today, we are learning what actually happened. According to reporting from the New York Post, 3 New York police officers ordered milkshakes on a mobile app. So there is no way for workers at the Shake Shack in question to have known that these were police officers ordering. And the shakes could not have been tampered with after the officers showed up to pick them up because they were already packaged and ready for pickup. The shakes did taste a little funny. The officers who threw them out talked to the manager and got apologies and vouchers for free food or drink. A supervisor for the officers, quote, called in the emergency service unit to set up a crime scene at the fast food joint for an evidence search around 9:20 p.m., nearly 2 hours after they first got the sour shakes. Again, the NYPD set up an entire crime scene outside this burger place as police officers were investigating inside and outside the restaurant. The original 3 officers were taken to the hospital for an exam without ever having shown any symptoms, according to the Post. Meanwhile, a lieutenant sent an email to the police union saying 6 cops had thrown up and gotten sick after drinking the shakes. Again, not true. That resulted in the police union tweeting out their officers were under attack and intentionally poisoned. The entire premise was false from the start. Quote, it was unclear why the sergeant and lieutenant escalated the situation. Again, these are people tasked with the job of finding things out and establishing the facts in criminal situations. Turns out it was just some cleaning solution that got left in the milkshake machine. Quote, detectives easily closed the case after interviewing 5 employees and reviewing surveillance footage showing the shakes were made normally. So, the next time that you have a police union official giving you a statement about something that supposedly just happened, please, I beg of you, remember the Shake Shack.
Do you spend the night trying to get comfortable? Your knees rub bone on bone. Your back and hips ache. You wake up in pain. Now, from the company that's reshaped how America sleeps, there's the Contour Legacy Pillow. The patented ergonomically designed tapered leg pillow that naturally fits the contours of your legs, knees, and thighs to help align your spine and alleviate pain. Watch. When you sleep on your side, your leg falls forward, twisting your pelvis and lower back, putting pressure on your spine, hips, and sciatic. But the Contour Legacy Pillow cushions your knees and cradles your legs, relieving stress on joints while restoring your lower back alignment.
Sleeping on your side, your leg comes over and puts you out of alignment, causing low back pain, hip pain, even knee pain. By using the Contour Legacy Pillow, it restores the natural alignment of the spine, helping to alleviate pain and pressure, leading to a much more restful sleep.
But the anatomical design of the Legacy Pillow perfectly fits the shape of your body the way nature intended. You can even use 2 together for full leg alignment. Legacy Pillow is exclusively ventilated so it always stays cool and dry. With top crescent design, it cuddles up to you perfectly and easily moves with you. Ordinary pillows go flat, but the Legacy Pillow is made from a soft memory foam so it never loses its shape. And the cover is machine washable. Now the Contour Legacy Pillow is just $19.99. But wait, you can also get the Contour Head Pillow, a $29 value free. Just pay separate processing and handling. The soothing orthopedic support will cradle your neck and head for full spine alignment. The Legacy Pillow also comes with a full 90-night sleep tight guarantee. You get it all, a $50 value, yours for just $19.99. So order now.
To order, call 1-800-585-8025. That's 1-800-585-8025 or go to getlegacypillow.com. Call now.
Each year, Americans waste over $21 billion by overpaying on car insurance. Enter the Zebra.
Another car insurance ad?
No, the Zebra compares them all and shows you who can actually save you money. Compare car insurance for free at thezebra.com.
Money at just one part at the typical auto parts store. When at rockauto.com, you can get all the parts you need with money left over to buy lunch. Go to rockauto.com.
All the parts your car will ever need, Rock Auto.
Guys, times are tough, but Force Factory's Test X180 can help us man up America by boosting total testosterone, build muscle, fuel desire, and improve performance. Get Test X180 from Force Factor, the #1 fastest growing men's health brand at Walmart.
ThredUp presents the cure for the common closet. I know that sigh. You're suffering from common closet. Common closet. But fear not, I have the cure. It's called ThredUp.com. It's the world's largest online thrift store with all of your favorite brands at incredible prices. Check out this J. Crew dress, $14. Boho weekend look, $25. You can pick your favorite colors, styles, brands, and voila! Enter code NEW for up to an extra 50% off your first order at ThredUp.com.
Cover it up. That's what I did when I started losing my hair. Then I realized I could actually do something. Now I use Keeps, the easiest way to keep my hair. And it only costs $1 a day, which means no more covering up. Get started at Keeps.com.
This was the president returning home to the White House on Saturday night looking disheveled, defeated, his red tie undone, dangling around his neck. A walk of shame back home, literally hat in hand. Just hours earlier, he had wrapped up his rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma, a rally that was going to reboot his whole re-election effort. His campaign said they had over 1 million ticket requests for the rally. There were meant to be so many people, they even built a whole extra stage outside the arena for Trump and Pence to address the overflow crowd. But there was no overflow crowd. There weren't even enough people to fill the actual arena itself. According to the Tulsa Fire Department, there were just over 6,000 people in an arena that can seat 3 times that many. New York Times reports the president was stunned and he yelled at aides backstage while looking at the endless rows of empty blue seats. Then he gave a rambling speech spending more than 15 minutes explaining why he had walked slowly down a ramp at West Point before successfully drinking a glass of water with just one hand, leading to applause. Then he came home and we got the now iconic image of a man looking desultory and defeated. Because like among many other things, this was a moment that exposed the sheer obvious political weakness of this man at this point. To talk about it, I'm joined by Alexei Kamen, political reporter for Axios, who covers the 2020 presidential election, and Yumi Shalcinder, White House correspondent for PBS NewsHour. Alexei, let me start with you. I mean, just at the most basic level of like campaign advance, this was as big a disaster as I have seen, particularly with the stakes as high as they were here.
I mean, it certainly suggests that people were focused on other things. To your point, Chris, that they couldn't even pick up on this, that it was happening until it was far too late. And, you know, one thing we know to be true about President Trump is that he loves these rallies. It's where he gets his energy. It's where he feels most himself. And it's where his base group of voters love him the most. They love Trump at a rally. They don't necessarily love Trump behind the podium giving a coronavirus briefing, but his voters love him at a rally, and he loves doing those things. And the fact that he couldn't get that is something that's going to grind his gears throughout this week, and something that, you know, could lead to campaign staff shakeups. They're going to have to think about the fact that this was their rally to kick off their Great American Comeback tour. Now, how are they actually going to kick off that tour in earnest?
Yamiche, it strikes me, if you look at the polling average right now that has, you know, 538 has Biden at about a 9-point advantage. We have seen in the last few months how quickly life can change, how quickly politics can change, so this is just a snapshot of a moment in time. But I wonder how much the White House understands that the problem is reality. It's not like the message, it's just the fact that there's a pandemic and things are not great in the country, and ultimately, like, they have to solve that or do a good job, or they will not win, and that's the basic equation. I wonder, do you think they understand that?
I think there are people around the president who have been urging him to really proceed cautiously when it comes to the coronavirus, when it comes to proclaiming victory over it. And to Alexei's point, you have this president who is really desperate and really excited about being in front of a big crowd of people. He wants to do that. But then you have his health officials saying, well, actually, we're probably going to have a second wave of the coronavirus. More people are going to die. Thousands of Americans have already died of the virus. But still, President Trump is leaning on these instincts to just do what he wants to do. So even though there might be people around the White House who take it more seriously than President Trump, ultimately, it's still the president's decision to go forth because he's posited himself as this kind of, I'm not going to wear a mask, I'm not going to really buy into the pandemic too much.
This is what I found so fascinating in many ways about this moment politically and also about what happened in Tulsa. And Alexei, you guys at Axios had an interesting write-up today of just a focus group, swing voters in Erie, Pennsylvania, which again, this is qualitative, this is not quantitative. But, you know, we've read so much about the ways in which this has been polarized, and these were swing voters saying that they were feeling annoyed, irritated, and frustrated to see the president out and about not wearing a mask amid the coronavirus. Participants described Biden as a role model for wearing a mask, calling him informed, educated, and responsible. And I think, you know, when you look at the polling, when you look at what happened in Tulsa, it is easy to lose sight of the fact that, like, there's actually a fair degree of consensus and unanimity in American life that, like, the virus is serious and we should try to not get it and we should do what we can to fight it.
You know, Chris, that is a fact that we all know to be true. And we also have other polling with Ipsos and Axios that showed that 8 in 10 Americans are worried about a second wave coming. That obviously matters because businesses and schools are looking to polling and public opinion about whether and how they should reopen. And it obviously matters for how we can go about living our lives. The president, you know, we thought he was seeing those numbers when his campaign said that they were making the move to pass out masks to rally goers. You know, but what I'm curious about too is how many people are actually interested in signing a waiver to attend a rally like this. We saw how low the attendance numbers were already, which suggests that even Trump's most ardent supporters aren't really interested in going out to see the president right now because of this pandemic. But on top of that, how many people are actually interested in signing away their rights to the president when there's still so much we don't know about this virus? And again, there's a really high concern that it's coming back imminently.
And in terms of the White House's political standing or Trump's, and one thing that has been striking throughout this, right, is they have always operated, it's better to be feared than liked. It's not that they have good relationships, it's that we hold this base will come for you if you cross us, that's it. And I thought it was notable that you have Senator Lindsey Graham, who's been loathed across the president, speaking up to talk about the firing of Berman this weekend, saying that he was going to allow Democrats essentially to scotch this if the president was going to try to install his personal person. And I know that, weakness has a way of sort of, growing on itself a bit. Like, the perception of weakness becomes weakness. And I know that's something that this president, this White House is extremely obsessed with.
Well, the idea is that President Trump has been able to keep Republicans in the Senate and in the House on his side because they are fearful of the base and they think that the base is with President Trump. I want to say that the minute that the base seems as though they're separating from President Trump, you're going to see a lot more Republicans trying to create distance between themselves and the president. And what you have right now is the president who has said, look, I want to be the person who's anti-mask. I want to be the person who's saying the pandemic's over. I want to be the person who says we should just all stand up and go vote in these big, long lines because it's easier and that's the way I want things to do. So what you have is the American people saying, well, actually, I don't feel like being sick, even if I'm a Republican. And I think that is going to continue to happen as we get closer and closer to November.
This is the basic point here. I mean, this is just such an obvious point, but it's like they have managed, and I think partly because it's because of the media the president consumes. I think it's because he thinks that he can kind of talk his way out of the things, to kind of detach themselves from the basic shared reality that people across the political and ideological spectrum continue to have, which is like, we still got a global pandemic. It's still a once-a-century thing. It's still screwing up our lives in all kinds of ways. And it doesn't go away because Donald Trump says, come on down to my rally. Let's all pack together in a stadium.
Well, we've only got so many months until the election, Chris, and we know that is the only thing that is on President Trump's mind right now. And that doesn't excuse his behavior or his focus, but, it is interesting, to your point, because we've seen how focused the president has been on elections, but now this is all that he cares about. I mean, he's not talking about the coronavirus in the way that is addressing Americans' concerns about whether or not they'll be able to send their kids back to school in the fall, whether they'll even have, a business to go back to in the fall. He's also not talking about, when he's talking about voting and encouraging the people who are out protesting to go stand in long lines to vote, he's not talking about safety precautions in place to do that because of COVID. He's not talking about how we're going to stop these long lines from happening. He's not talking about the fact that all these polling locations are closing, therefore making it harder for communities of color in particular to even access a ballot box. I mean, there's a lot of things that the president could be talking about, but there's an election happening, so that's where his focus is.
Yeah, and I think, you've continued to see from the very beginning him viewing this as essentially either a hoax or essentially just a deeply unfair and rude interruption of his presidency and an economy and re-election campaign. And he has refused to move off of that because that's the way he is. Alexi McCammond, Yamiche Alcindor, thank you both for joining us tonight.
Thanks.
That is all in for this evening. The 11th hour with Brian Williams starts right now.
Well, good evening once again. Day 1250 of the Trump administration, leaving 134 days to go until our presidential election. And once again tonight, we are following breaking news out of Lafayette Park near the White House tonight. Our NBC station WRC reporting that protests got tense when police pushed protesters away from the statue of Andrew Jackson after some of the demonstrators tried to take down the statue. There are reports that Park Service police repelled protesters with pepper spray and shields. The news media was advised to leave the West Wing during the demonstrations. It's been 1 month now since the death of George Floyd. Meanwhile, hours from now, the president will travel to Arizona for a campaign event at a megachurch amid a surge in new coronavirus cases in the state of Arizona. The trip comes as we learned today that 2 more of the president's advance team members working in Tulsa have tested positive for the virus. That makes a total of 8 staffers who have now tested positive. As a result of the Tulsa trip, that number is expected to rise. Having last week bragged that upwards
upwards of 1 million people had applied for tickets. In Tulsa over the weekend, the president delivered a meandering hour-and-a-half-long speech to a much smaller crowd. Local fire departments said about 6,200 people attended. The arena has a capacity of 19,000, give or take. During the president's remarks, he used racist language to describe the virus. Had this to say about testing.
Here's the bad part. When you do testing to that extent, you're going to find more people, you're going to find more cases. So I said to my people, slow the testing down, please. They test and they test. We got tests that people don't know what's going on. COVID, it's this, by the way, it's a disease, without question, has more names than any disease in history. I can name Kung Flu. I can name 19 different versions of names.
White House says the president was joking about slowing down testing, but here's what the president said himself in a pair of interviews from earlier today.
Did you ask to slow it down?
If it did slow down, frankly, I think we're way ahead of ourselves, if you want to know the truth. We've done too good a job, because every time we go up with 25 million tests, you're going to find more people. So then they say, we have cases in the United States. The reason we have more cases, because more testing than any other country by far.
At the Tulsa rally, when the media is hitting you on that, where you said, I told my staff, stop the testing. They're saying, was that tongue-in-cheek or?
No, it's semi-tongue-in-cheek. I say it all the time. I know some people thought it was tongue-in-cheek. It's unfair. We're doing so much testing, so much more than any other country. And to be honest with you, when you do more testing, you find more cases.
Number of reports after the rally said the president was furious about the underwhelming crowd in Tulsa on Saturday night. Maggie Haberman and Annie Carney of the New York Times tell it this way, quote, the president was stunned and he yelled at aides backstage while looking at the endless rows of empty blue seats in the upper bowl of the stadium. Before the president started speaking to the sparse indoor audience, the outdoor stage for the overflow crowd was being taken apart. There was no overflow. Everyone who wanted to attend the indoor event attended the indoor event. Today, the White House press secretary was pressed on Trump using racist language in his remarks to describe the coronavirus.
Going back to the issue of Kung Flu, I spoke to Kellyanne Conway in March. She said that it was highly offensive and wrong to use that term. Does the president agree with Kellyanne Conway, or is he now saying that that term is not highly offensive and wrong? Because again, that was Kellyanne Conway's own words saying Kung Flu is wrong.
The president does not believe it's offensive to note that this virus came from China and to stand up for our U.S. military, who China is making an active effort to completely defame, and that is unacceptable to the president.
And let's not please forget all this as the United States continues to see increasing cases in so many areas of the country, including the Sun Belt, the South, the West. Overall, there have been over 2.3 million cases, over 120,000 deaths now. Today, Florida, which has seen a spike in new cases, officially topped 100,000 confirmed infections. Over 3,000 deaths have been reported just in Florida. There is good news out of New York City today, and at least for now, where phase 2 of reopening has started. Some commuters returned as offices were allowed to welcome back some employees under strict new rules. New Yorkers can once again eat outdoors, get a haircut, again with restrictions. Meanwhile,